Okay, so today I'm going to be installing an Ubuntu server into VirtualBox as a virtual machine. So the first thing I will do is click on New, and I will name it Ubuntu Server. And the type is Linux, and the version is correct. So I will click Next. The memory size for RAM looks good. I'll go ahead with that. And the disk space is 8 gigs virtual to hard disk. We'll go ahead and create that and click Next. Everything looks good. Create it. Alright, so let's go into the settings first of all. And in the network, we need to make sure that the network adapter is changed to internal network. And one other thing we need to look at is storage, and we need to attach the ISO image of the Ubuntu server, the ISO right here, and we'll do that, and we'll click OK, and then we will start it up. Okay, the first thing that we need to do is select our language, which is English. We'll install Ubuntu server. So we will hit enter and start the process. Okay, the next thing that we're prompted to do is again select a language for the installation process. We'll pick English, and the United States is our territory where I am, so I will select it. And I don't want to detect the keyboard layout because I can just do that manually here by US, country of origin, and just default US keyboard layout. And we'll start detecting the hardware, find devices. Now, through the process of installation, there are going to be a lot of loading screens, and there's going to be a lot of different things that are going to be happening. And I'm really going to only focus on the decisions that we need to make for the purposes of this video, for content and for time. So anytime that I need to go in and make a decision or change something or confirm something, then we'll be able to hit on that. And otherwise, I'm going to just have this run as smoothly as possible and keep it short and sweet. Okay, so here it's telling us that the network auto configuration has failed. We'll go ahead and continue. And what we're going to do is configure it manually. And so for the IP address I want to set for this machine to be in my network, what I'm going to have to use is 172.16.0.20, and I'll continue. And the subnet mask looks good, and I will continue there. My gateway also looks good because it's going to point back to my pfSense router, so I will continue there, and that's fine as well. So we're detecting the link on ETH0, which is going to communicate through the pfSense router, and that's the internal network that we have the rest of our virtual machines connected to. Okay, so now we're being prompted to enter the host name for it. Just to distinguish this as a server, I will add server to the end of Ubuntu, and I will continue. We don't have a domain name, so we don't have to worry about that. We can just continue. And this is going to be my username, so I will just use my name for the purposes of this demonstration. And the account, that's fine. It will be my username for the account as well. And I'll go ahead and create a password that I'll use to log in, and I'll verify the password. And it tells me that it's weak because it is a simple password, but like I say, for the purposes of this demonstration, that's completely fine. I'll go ahead and go with that. We don't need to encrypt our home directory at this point, so I will just select no. Okay, so at this point I've started pfSense running in the background as the router, and we're being prompted to select our time zone, and I'll go ahead and pick Eastern. The installation is going to detect other disks, hardware. Okay, so now we're being prompted about partitioning the disk. I'm going to go ahead and choose the option that's already highlighted, which is to use the entire disk and set up LVM. So I'll choose that option. And that is the disk that we have allocated for our virtual box. So I will click next. Okay, so now we are being prompted to write these changes, and we will confirm. And now we're going to confirm the volume that we have set aside for this, which is 8.3 gigabytes, and that's what we want, so we'll continue. And at this point, this is a summary of what we're going to be doing as far as installing this on our hard disk. Everything looks good, so we're going to say yes to the changes. Okay, so now at this point, we don't need to enter anything for the HTTP proxy information, so we can just continue. So now we're being asked how we want to configure upgrades to the system. At this time, I'm just going to put no automatic updates. And now we're being prompted to install software if we wish to do so, but we don't need anything for the purposes of this demonstration and what we need this server to do, so I'm just going to go ahead and continue. Okay, now at this point we need to go ahead and install the bootloader, so we will select yes. Okay, now at this point it's finishing up installation and it's automatically ejected the ISO image, so that when we do boot up, we're going to be doing it from the virtual hard drive. So I will go ahead and click, or actually continue, and this will finish up, and when we reboot, we'll be doing it from the hard disk drive and not the ISO image. Okay, now Ubuntu is booting up for the first time. Okay, so this is what we're going to look at. I'm going to go ahead and log back in, and I'll use my password. And I'm going to use this command line to show what our interfaces are that I have set up. Now statically, the IP address is good, the network mask is good. Now for the DNS name server, I changed it to 8.8.8.8, which is for Google. So now when we exit this and we can ping google.com, now we've got connection and we're looking good. We have made connection through the internet through our router. I'll go ahead and stop that. And one more time, these are the interfaces that have been set up statically. And that pretty much wraps it up for this. So that's what we need to do for the purposes of this demonstration.